Y'all see that title. Self-sacrificing ultimately just leads to resentment. And women will know a thing or two about that. We just don't like to admit it. It's easier to place the blame on other people. It's easier to say that other people don't show up for me or other people don't do this for me, even though I would do it for them. And I do think there's nuance. I do think there's nuance. But in this season, as the mirror is held to my face, what I'm learning is that just because I'm willing or was willing, because today is a new day and I've decided that that version of me is done doing that. But just because I'm willing to slice and dice and cut and chop and then season and then add the garlic pepper powder and the pepper and then put myself in the oil in the frying pan and cook it up and then, add a little parsley to it and serve myself on a platter and then give it to people just for them to say, well, this is not what I want, or not say thank you. That's no one else's fault but mine. Because somewhere in my upbringing I learned that self-sacrificing will equate to me receiving love. It will equate to me being you know the good girl. It will equate to me receiving applause. And when you don't get that, now it's all these other things and all the feelings of resentment and bitterness that come up. The other thing that self-sacrificing does, especially for women, is that it leads to emotional burnout. It can lead to mental health issues. It can really lead to a loss of identity. And I think that when you don't realize that self-worth does not equate to selflessness, and how much you are, how much you need to perform for others, you'll start looking at things completely differently. The amount of times I have done things, I have gone out of my way, I've gone above and beyond, especially when it comes to putting the needs of others before my own, because that is one of the biggest ways that women tend to self-sacrifice. Just for the person to be like, well, you ain't have to do all that. We've been there. We know what that feels like. And in this season, I'm realizing that that is no one's fault but mine. Culture, media, religion, our upbringing, right? That is how a lot of us, especially the girls, the women, we're taught by our families, by society. It's almost expected for you to self-sacrifice. And there's no reward for that. I just want to let y'all know there's no reward for it. Because at the end of the day, when you meet someone who will say, well, I'm not willing to do that. I'm not going to put myself on the cross, crucify myself, just so you can be happy. I am not willing to put your needs before mine. I'm okay with being called a bitch or being called mean. That's okay. That's where those feelings of resentment and bitterness, and then you get angry at those people who are willing to choose themselves over you every time. Because ultimately, that's what we all should be doing. Choosing ourselves, putting ourselves first, putting our needs first. And I encourage you, I implore you to, especially if this is something you're battling with, ask yourself, where did you learn this from? And how often have you been rewarded for cutting and slicing and dicing and seasoning and cooking and frying and putting yourself on a platter for others? Because I guarantee you, you haven't been rewarded much. I bet you haven't even gotten a thank you. I bet you feel resentment. You feel bitterness. You're tired. You're anxious. In this season, I am choosing to do things differently. While it doesn't feel good to have the mirror held up to your face, what I will say is it was about goddamn time. Because yesterday, I might have sliced and diced and cut. But today, yeah, it's a new day. And you can choose to do things differently. You just have to have the self-awareness and be willing to hold yourself accountable. And then, only then, can you decide to do something different. Stop putting yourself on a platter to be served like you're a piece of chicken. Because that will never get you the reward you think you're going to receive.